All right, so like you said, my name is Stevie Lynch, and I'm a former USI grad, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit different. There are a lot of accounting majors in here, if you're an accounting major, and there's other people who are just business majors too, right? So this will be really informative, especially to the accounting and finance majors and CIS majors. We're definitely hiring those, and then any other majors, there's always different positions with the federal government, but specifically what I'm speaking about today, if you're accounting, finance, CIS, there are openings definitely for you. So I'm from Boonville, Indiana, and did you say you were out at Tennyson, Indiana? I'm actually from Tennyson, Indiana, so I know it's really small. I grew up on gravel roads and out in the middle of nowhere. So I did finance and accounting. I was involved in a bunch of stuff whenever I was here at school. And then whenever I graduated, I went the traditional route, went straight into public accounting with Harding Szymanski. It's just downtown Evansville. I did, they have the general services department, so I did tax and audit work for a couple of years there. And then I actually ended up, about this time last year, I was teaching classes at Central High School, so I actually taught business, math, and personal finance and things there. So I did a lot of stuff, and I don't know if I put it on there, but I worked at Holiday World for 9 years growing up, and I worked in marketing there too. So I have a little bit of marketing experience. I have a lot of friends who are in marketing, so if you have questions about marketing, I can help you out with that as well. And then I've been with the Department of Defense since February of this year, so I haven't been there long, but I have a lot to say about it. So basically, I actually work for the Department of Defense, and I work for a place called the Defense Finance and Accounting Services Group. So it's all just doing the books, basically, for the Department of Defense. I'm hired by the federal government, but I actually do all the finance and the bookkeeping instead of going out and fighting. So basically, our focus is on the war fighters. I work with a lot of military veterans and all that. We have American flags, and I brought in the American flag fruit pizza for everyone. But it's very patriotic there if you're into that. It's really, really cool. It's a different kind of environment. And it's neat because everything that we do every day actually goes and has a benefit, so I can feel really good about what I'm doing. And I liked doing tax and audit with Harding Szymanski, but one of the hard things was some days you're just sitting at your computer all day doing some rich old guy's taxes, and then he comes in and he's mad about it, and it doesn't make you feel real good at the end of the day. And what I do now makes me feel really, really good every single day. We're doing things like if somebody passes away overseas while they're fighting, we help make sure that their money gets to their families like overnight. We take care of that. So there's no lapse in payment. And it's a lot of really good things like that that I think everybody can support. And so basically, my job's kind of unique in that we kind of work as a working capital fund. So working for the Department of Defense, they have all these different agencies. They have the Defense Missile Agency. They have DARPA. They have the Office of Economic Adjustment. They have all these little agencies that help support the mission. And so we actually get the money that's allocated by the president. So my boss is the president, effectively. And so they allocate the money, and then we help disperse it out to all the agencies, and we pay all of them. So we have, anywhere from the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, all of that, but then we also have the special agencies, so the people who are doing the research and stuff, and those are million-dollar agencies just to make sure that our soldiers have what they need. And so we make all the different payments. We provide finance, accounting services. We do financial statements. We have a huge IT department, constantly learning, doing all different kinds of systems. There's a lot of different functions just in the Department of Defense Finance and Accounting Services. And so where I work at in Indianapolis, this is the actual building. It's the third largest government building in the entire country. So there's the Pentagon, Reagan's Library, and then DFAS. So it is really, really big. There's 4,000 people that come in and out every day. So there's constantly people going in and out of the doors. And so since it's as big as the Pentagon like that, we have full government security. So when I go to work every day, I'm going through like airport security. I have to basically strip down, my bags go through. Every door in the building, you have an ID scanner that you scan in and out. It opens up your computer. Everything's password protected. It's very, very tight. So it kind of gets that cool feeling like, and there's different statuses too. You've heard of like the top secret statuses. So we actually have to get clearances for those kind of things because we're dealing with some pretty secure information. So it's kind of cool. It's like working for the CIA or something. It's pretty neat in that way. But it is safe. We have daily security ratings, so if there's any threat of anything, we're notified and we can all work from home or find other arrangements. So you feel very safe going in every day. And with that, with it being so huge, you've got to think of it like a Mecca hospital or something almost. We have a huge cafeteria, we have a Starbucks, there's a 24-hour gym, and I live right next door to DFAS, so I go exercise all the time. It's really awesome. We have a barber shop, we have all these different amenities going on at all the time. And then they have different activities too. I was on a baseball team over the summer, so we went and played softball in the fields next door, and there's all sorts of really neat things to do. It's just like its own self-sustaining entity almost. It's so big. And then we have a bunch of different locations for DFAS too. So you can work in our Indianapolis site, but the other major sites, we have really big ones in Columbus and Cleveland. And then these are our other really big sites. I'm looking in a couple of years actually to go to Japan. And so you do like a 3-year tour of duty in Japan. And so you do have to sign on for 3 years, but like I know all your rent and everything's paid for, so you don't have to pay for that. So basically like, you know, you get your income and you get to save a lot of money by living in Japan. And then plus you're there on the base, so you're there with other English-speaking people and people who are from America and you can kind of connect with, but you also get to go out and meet a lot, and they have a whole lot of different activities, so you can go around and explore Japan as well. And then these are just for DFAS, right? So if you go and you apply for a federal employee job, and say you want to come into DFAS, and you work in Indianapolis for 2 years, if you do your 2-year service, then you're eligible to transfer to any other federal government job. So if I work for DFAS right now and in 2 years I want to work for the IRS, I can maybe find an IRS office in Evansville, come back to Evansville and work. Or maybe I could find one in Hawaii and go work there. Or I could do this for, I mean, every single federal position you can think of. So the Veterans Affairs, or working for one of those agencies like DMA or DARPA or something like that. So there's just an unlimited amount of different jobs that you can constantly be transferring to. And to be honest, most people only stay at a position for 2 years or less. So it's very common that you'll be transferring around and finding what works for you. Compensation, so if you're going to go work in public accounting, there's a lot of money to be made in public accounting. So if you're just chasing the dollar, you can make more over time. But basically, this is our really confusing chart. But what it says is that you get compensation based on years of service. So it's not, you don't have to worry about like kissing butt and getting promotions and all that. Basically, you come in at this level, it's hard to see, but if you have just a bachelor's degree, you'll come in at a level 8, just right out of school. Or, yeah, I'm sorry, a level 7 right out of school. So you'd make $41,673 just within hiring. If you have a master's degree and that MBA from here counts, you go straight in at $50,975. And then every year, as long as you just pass your basic evaluation so you didn't mess up too bad, you'll go up a step effectively. So the first 5 steps you take 1 year at a time, and then it kind of starts to slow out. But basically you'll go from one grade to the next within 15 years at a minimum. And usually you can jump that a lot quicker. If you can then get promotions to promote you up quicker. Also, I'm a member of like a LIM program, so we just jump grades as long as we do extra things. So if you get in the LIM program, you can jump from like, if you started out at a 9 making $50,000, the next year you can jump 2 grades and be making $61,000. So you're not going to make $300,000 a year probably in your career, you're not. But you can be making $100,000 in roughly 5 to 10 years pretty quickly. And it's steady, steady pay. So if what you're looking for is enough money and steady pay and a comfortable living, it's definitely a little bit better than some of those higher pressure positions. And of course, with the government position, we do get a full pension. So it's not a full pension, I'm sorry, but it's 1.1% of your high 3 average salary. So maybe it's not as big as the pensions your mom and dad have gotten. Those are kind of a thing of the past. But so basically, if you made $100,000 for the highest salary you made of your whole career was $100,000, and you made that for 3 years, and you worked from the age of 25 to the age of 65, so that's 40 years, and you retire, then you'd make $45,000 $44,000 a year just in your pension alone. Then you also have a thrift savings plan, so it's like a 401k. And so it's more than 3%. It averages out to almost 4% you get back in your 401k, plus you get Social Security. So you get a kind of triple dip almost. So it's a very, very nice retirement. Very good insurance, Anthem, Blue Cross, Blue Shield for federal. So there's a lot of really good benefits that come with the position as well. For paid time off, we get 10 paid holidays, we get sick leave, and you get annual leave. So there's a lot of time that comes with that, and you start accruing immediately. This is the really, really cool part. We have flexible scheduling. So there's 4,000 employees at DFAS. Everybody does telework. So usually most departments, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, people are at home working from their laptops in their pajamas. Most people only work Tuesdays and Thursdays, especially during inclement weather. Everyone's at home. If it snows, they'll just send out an email and say, stay at home. We think it's going to snow tomorrow, and everybody just works from home all the time. So we get to do that. It's really cool. It's really neat. They have all the equipment. It's easy to get hooked up. And then also you can work a compressed schedule. My boyfriend works for the state right now, and so he actually gets like every other Friday off. He works just like 45 extra minutes a day, so he gets to do that. And then you get a 30-minute lunch every day and 2 50-minute breaks, and they're required. So it's not like some jobs where you have to work through lunch. They're like, your 30-minute lunch, go enjoy yourself, and you can take up to an hour. So it's very laid back as far as I've worked there. And we have flexible hours too. So you can come in and you can like work from 6:30 to 3 if you want. You can work from 7 to 3:30. You can work like 8 to 5, whatever you want, as long as you get 8 hours in. And you are paid overtime, comp time, or credit hours for everything you work over 40 hours. So you're never ever working over that 40-hour week without getting some kind of compensation for it. It's very different from public accounting. If you're going in that, you'll be working 80 to 100 hours during tax season, and there's no overtime. So and usually you get the telework after 90 days of employment, so you can get it for all sorts of reasons. Then also for career development, this is something that's pretty cool. So first of all, if you're working on like mission-related tuition, so you're working on your master's degree, or let's say, because they'll actually hire people who only have an associate's in accounting in certain situations, and they'll want to go back and get that bachelor's, they'll pay for a lot of your tuition for that. I already have my master's, so I'm not covered. So I can't speak too far to that subject, but it does cover a lot of your classes. They 100% reimburse you for your CPA, your CMA, any of that. So I'm working on my CMA right now, and I just took one part and passed it. I have one more part coming up in the fall that I'm going to take. But so far they've reimbursed me for everything as long as you pass it. And then not only that, but you get 40 hours of paid time just to study. And then you get both of the full days that you take the test, or if it's the CPA, up to 4 days just off that they pay you for it. It's not your vacation leave or anything to go take it. So when I took the first part of the CMA, I just had like 3 days off to study and then an extra day to take the test, and it was like Memorial Day, so I just got a week off work paid for free. So it was pretty cool. Of course, I was studying really hard. I passed the tests and everything, but that's something you're not going to get other places. And they have all these cool organizations. So there's a Toastmasters chapter at DFAS, so being a member of this organization can help you in all sorts of things. There's not just the speaking skills you learn, but the networking skills, because if you go and you're trying to apply to get on the federal government, I know there's at least 4 active chapters of Toastmasters in Indianapolis, so there's a really good odds that you're going to meet someone who was in Toastmasters or knows someone who was, and that's a great networking tool from joining this club too. And right now I'm a member of the Leaders in Motion program, so I was saying if you do like extra work, you can jump upgrades and make even more money. So usually for young people, if they join this program, you can go up those ranks, make more money really quick. You do like a green belt, so if you've heard of like the Lean 6 program, you'll actually do a green belt project, so you can put that on your resume going forward, but that's actually a requirement. You go to just different trainings and learn more, so you're actually learning skills as you go, and then you get promoted. And it's not a lot of extra work, and you do all of it during your actual regular work hours, so you don't have to work overtime or wear yourself out. I never feel exhausted from it. And you are required to get a financial management certification, which may seem scary, But I was kind of worried because they told me this is a requirement of your employment, you have to get this. But it's really easy to get. When you go to USI, like 80% of the classes you took at USI, they automatically test you out of even having to take any classes. And any that you do, you actually just do during your work time again. So very easy to get that. So if anyone's like applying, the only reason I put this slide on there is if anyone's applying and they're scared and they're thinking, oh, I won't be able to get the financial management certification, you're basically good to go. So the hardest thing about this is it's hard to get employed by the federal government, which is why so many people, whenever they graduate, they go into public accounting like BKD or Harding Szymanski or Deloitte & Touche or Ernst & Young, and they don't. And also, those are really good places to learn a lot about accounting. I learned so much whenever I worked in public accounting. It's really, really good, and it's helped me in all my different careers I've had and everything I've done in my life. But it's really hard to get into the federal government. It's not just somewhere you send them your resume, they call you in for an interview, and you're good to go. So instead of that, the way that we post all jobs is at this link right here. So if you're interested at all, I would write down that link because that's where everything is. There's no other external sites. It's just usajobs.gov. And you'll just basically use it's government, it's old school. Basically just use the search bar, type in accountant or whatever job you're looking for. You can refine it by your locality. And that's how you look up jobs, and you just apply directly through the website. And so I can't like collect your resumes or anything. I have nothing to do with that. So that's how you have to apply. And there is a large if you have prior military experience, or your dad was in the military, or your spouse is in the military. So it's like a point system, right? So if you have prior military experience and you don't have very much accounting like experience, but I have a ton of accounting experience and no prior military, they could actually get hired above you. That's why it's really tough to get in. So there's a lot of veterans and things working that they actually end up sending back to school to get the accounting knowledge, working with a lot of accountants. But the cool thing is if you have the accounting knowledge, you're a really big asset at DFAS because they want more accountants teaching other people how to be accountants there. So it can really help you, but you kind of need an in to get in. And so I'm your in. So if you're interested, I would definitely reach out to me and see if you can get into that. I do have summer internships. Like 90% of the people who do a summer internship get hired on full time. So that's a really good way to get in, and they hire a lot of summer interns. And then of course if you have your master's, your CPA, your CMA, public accounting experience, all that will help you get points. So like having your CPA gets you boosted higher on the point system for hiring and things like that. That's how you get an interview. And then you do have to do a full background check before you start. It's pretty invasive. They'll call up all your friends, your family, your relatives, everywhere you've lived at. It goes crazy like that, but that's to get that top secret clearance, because if the government is sending missiles out to some country and you're paying for them because you're doing the books, they got to know they can trust you with that kind of information. So that's why it takes a little bit longer to get on. But basically, if you want to get started, that's a really great website to go to. And so we're looking for people, like I said, who have all those information. If you're good at computer applications, Excel, Access, or ACL, especially if any of you have heard of ACL, it's sort of like Excel and Access combined. It's a really good data mining tool that's really used at DFAS. We want good grades, lots of extracurricular, leadership skills. And so the big next step I can tell you is I will be back here at the Beta Alpha Psi meeting on September 13th. That's a Thursday next month. And I'm bringing with me Jeff Slaga, and he is a former USI grad as well. But he's actually a division chief at DFAS, so he's like a big wig. I think that translates over to like a lieutenant colonel or something. So he can collect your resumes, and he can give you even more information, and he's a guy you want to impress. He got me my job there. He was my connection, and so me and him will be your connection if you want to get in there, because it is really difficult to come in from the outside. And so also you can contact me at stevie.r.lynch.civ@mail.mil, and I can give you any kind of information that you want. I would reach out to me if you're really interested right away. Just let me know your name and stuff, and that way if I see you at the Beta Alpha Psi meeting, I'll know, hey, they were already interested, they already reached out to me. And then not only that, I can tell Jeff about it, and we can see where we can hook you up at too, because if you're a CIS major or a different kind of major, we can find if there's any openings for that. Or if there's accounting, we may be able to help find an area. I work in audit support right now, so my job is I help get documents together so that when the auditors come in to audit the government, we get that. So if you're interested in auditing, we have those. We have people who do financial statements. We have people who do military pay. So even if you're in accounting, let me know what your interests are and everything like that. But those are the basics of it. So very, very different from public accounting, a completely different world. But it's hard because you don't hear about jobs in the government, federal or state, whenever you're here at USI. It's hard for us to reach out. There are so many rules that govern when we're allowed to collect resumes and how we're allowed to advertise. So it's difficult to get in. So if you have any questions or you want any more information, reach out to me or show up at that meeting and I'll be happy to help out. So, are there any questions?